This is my most anticipated game for the
Crimson
fall.
Desert has been gradually accumulating hype and buzz for a while now. Originally known to
It's from a Korean developer. I forget the name, but it's not Krafton. I don't think it is. They made Black Desert Online, like a big giant MMORPG, and this is like, and if you probably seen it before, but like it has like amazing graphics. That's was like the big takeaway. Everyone was like, "Oh my god, this game looks amazing. Let me see it." And they get in, it's like an MMORPG. Like, oh man, but the graphics looked amazing, especially like the human in the game, like their animations, just the way they look. So this is, I forget the name of the Pearl Abyss. That's the name of the company, Pearl Abyss. So like I said, they've been making that MMORPG Black Desert for forever. This is their first foray into a single player open world game. So the best way to describe this game right now is like The Witcher 3 meets Zelda. So, I mean, it's a lot to say, but that's the kind of the, like, plus a little bit of like, if you see the combat, it kind of reminds me of like the modern day Assassin's Creed, but just better. So it looks like a mix between Assassin's Creed, The Witcher 3, and the new Zelda games. So it's looking very promising. Apparently, when PlayStation was out doing their whole deal thing, when they picked up Shift Up and Stellar Blade, they tried to get the rights to release this exclusively on PlayStation 5, but Pearl Abyss declined. So it's a multi-platform game, so Xbox, PlayStation, PC. You can play it there. So they decided not to go exclusive and decided to do it PlayStation and publish the game themselves and risk the market. So we'll watch this video. It's about 8 minutes long. We'll react to it, and then gotta jump off for a little bit, run some errands. I'm off work all this week. I'm on vacation. So, and then, like I said, we're back at 5 p.m. to play Resident Evil 1. We'll do Chris's playthrough, take a little bit of a break, and then come back and do Jill's. And then maybe after that, jump into RE2 1998, because I can beat those games, both campaigns, in like 2 hours. So we'll see how it goes.
a few, and perhaps as little more than that single-player offshoot of the MMORPG Black Desert, the project evolved and grew in scope and ambition, eventually becoming its own standalone thing,
Yeah, right now
and
it's my
impressing
most
with multiple
anticipated game of
showings
the year.
over the course of years to formally register itself on the radar for a great many people. Here at Gaming Bolt, we've been keeping an eye on
like a Game of
Crimson
Thrones
Desert,
feel
and
to it,
across
too.
multiple past features. Not only have we covered plenty of information on Pearl Abyss's upcoming open-world action-adventure title, but also spoken at length about why exactly it's caught our eye, and why we believe it has the potential to be one of 2025's standout releases.
Yeah, you got like big ass boss battles and shit.
Similar lesson.
This game, like I said, is my most anticipated game of the year. And these guys know how to make a game. They made that Black Desert Online
Up to this point,
MMORPG for a
Pearl
long
Abyss
time.
has shown gameplay footage and trailers for the title quite liberally, offering numerous and extended looks at its world, combat, boss fights, traversal mechanics, and much more. Much of which has looked more than a little impressive. Unsurprisingly, amidst the summer season of game announcements, reveals, and updates, Crimson Desert is continuing to show what it's about in hopes of keeping the flames of excitement surrounding its release well fanned. Behind the scenes at Summergamefest,
Combat looks
Pearl Abyss
awesome,
showed
too.
off
It's got, like,
another
you have,
chunk
like,
of gameplay
wrestling
footage
moves,
for
like
Crimson
suplexes
Desert.
and shit and drop
And
kicks
as
for
it may
combat.
not surprise you to learn at this point, we continue to be delighted by how the game is taking shape. But what exactly was it that Pearl Abyss showed off to media at Summergamefest? Well, it wasn't necessarily the beefiest showing, with only a couple of minutes of new gameplay footage having been publicly released. But what Pearl Abyss is showing off to wider audiences with this newest batch of footage is another varied mix of highlights that are looking like some of the game's biggest strengths. Chief among them, unsurprisingly, is combat once again. Unsurprisingly, because up to this point, in most, if not all, of Crimson Desert's showings, it is its combat that has caught the eye above most other aspects of the experience. That continues to be the case with this newest footage
Yeah, so
emerging
you
from
get, like,
Summer
wrestle
Games
moves and
Fest,
shit, like
starting with a tense and
suplex
hectic
and
scene set amidst a
fucking
furious battle,
drop
then moving
kicks.
on to a more intimate, one-on-one fight against the boss. The new footage shows different facets of combat, each looking solid.
This is particle effects coming off your sword as you're fucking hitting somebody. This looks fucking awesome. I believe the character's name too is like McDuff. It's like a knockoff of Jon Snow.
For starters, movement is looking slick, quick, and agile,
Yeah, it looks very
which with
fluid.
the right execution can make for fast, aggressive, and incredibly satisfying combat. That sort of thing obviously cannot be truly properly judged until you get your hands on the sticks yourself and get a feel for just how the game plays and reacts in response to your actions and inputs. But by the looks of it, Crimson Desert is promising combat that will be agile, stylish, and impactful, with an emphasis not only on dealing damage,
Yeah, why do I keep
but also
yawning?
moving about with nimbleness. The dynamicism of fights is also looking intriguing. That is highlighted particularly well in the aforementioned boss fight, in fact.
Looks like we'll get like
At
Dark
one
Souls
particular
styles
point,
ball-
the
Dark
player
Souls
unleashes
styles
an
boss
attack that
fights.
causes pillars around the arena to come crashing down. Not only is that an excellent environmental destruction effect that adds greatly to the battle, the player then also proceeds to pick up one of the pillars and smacks the boss in the face with it
Yeah, I
with a
didn't know you could do
single
that.
hard-hitting attack
Use
that destroys a
environmental objects as
significant
weapons.
chunk of HP.
That's pretty cool.
If that's the sort of unpredictability and dynamicism that Crimson Desert keeps delivering, there's every reason for players to be excited. Obviously, it'd be unreasonable, to say the very least, to expect the game to keep doing things along those lines in every single combat encounter. But if the game can
This looks
deliver a
awesome.
healthy amount of that flavor of unpredictability, combat
Got some
encounters are
Shadow of
going
the
to feel
Colossus
that much more
type of
exciting.
gameplay right here.
But it's not just the combat that's catching the eye. Even though it continues to be one of the primary attractions, Crimson Desert is also impressing with its traversal mechanics. Again, this is a part of the game that certainly has stood out in previous gameplay showings as well, with quite a bit of emphasis being placed on fast, fluid, and high-flying movement, from quick dashes and dodges to unique gliding mechanics, movement options to add more verticality, and more. The point, it seems, is to add just a greater range of options to provide players with, which they can then use as they see fit. Exactly how much versatility with complexity that will
Yeah,
add
dude,
to
like,
Crimson
the
Desert's
Korean
combat
and
and even
Chinese game
exploration
developers are
overall
just
remains to
fucking
be
killing
seen.
it.
But you could certainly see it having a significant impact with the right execution.
Some Japanese ones are too, but a lot of Japanese companies are starting to kind of teeter off and get like really woke, like Square Enix. Like they bent the knee to DEI so bad, like their company's doing not doing good. I mean, the America right now, their game developers are just doing fucking terrible.
And, of course, we didn't even see much or any of Crimson Desert's open world in the new chunk of footage that Pearl Abyss has publicly shared.
Just look how beautiful that looks. That whole fucking wow. You could probably go to any one of these fucking landmarks and interact with them. It's gonna
The
be awesome.
vastness and diversity of the game's world is something that the developer has spoken about on more than a few occasions, and clearly, it's supposed to be one of its bigger selling points. Though we didn't see too much of it this time, what we have seen before has looked promising, to the point where our expectations have been cautiously raised. With the sort of traversal
that
mechanics,
clawfish move.
environmental variety, and sheer scale that Crimson Desert is
rumor
offering,
is it's
open world
supposed to release in this year. Well, they've said it's releasing this year, but the rumor is it's going to come out in November.
certainly has the elements in place to
most
turn it
likely
into
is.
something truly captivating. The hope is that it can make good on that promise. But even if it cannot entirely live up to the loftiest of expectations, it is looking like it will be an engaging open world experience, especially for those who enjoy that style of design. On top of that, outside of its core combat and traversal mechanics, Crimson Desert is also continuing to make quite a strong impression with its visuals and tech. Pearl Abyss has been touting its internal proprietary engine, dubbed Black Space, for some time now, and looking at how the upcoming action-adventure title
look at the way
is
that water
shaping up,
moves.
it's hard not to be impressed by what the engine seems to be
Fucking
providing as a
beautiful.
foundation for.
Just
From
beautiful.
gorgeous and detailed
Wow.
environments to the dynamic lighting and shadows, to the draw distances and more.
Yeah, these guys, like I said, if you ever go back and look at the Black Desert Online videos, these guys know how to nail down graphics and like just beautiful looking environments, character models. This is something they know what to do. Like they know this.
In more ways than one, Crimson Desert is finding ways to capture and hold attention with its visuals. Obviously, you can spot the odd rough edge here and there, but with the launch still not even yet upon us, more polish is all but guaranteed.
Yeah.
Which brings us to the big question that those looking forward to Crimson Desert have on their minds right now, and have had for a while. When exactly can we expect to play the game?
This fall is
Officially, Crimson Desert has a late 2025
like I said, the rumor is November.
release date, while reports have suggested that the action-adventure title could launch in early December. But an official announcement has yet
I've
to
heard
be
November.
made. Hopefully, Pearl Abyss will share more concrete information on that front sooner rather than later, because our anticipation for the game is continuing to grow, so the sooner we learn when we can get our hands on it, the better. Hey,
Yeah, like I said, this game is my most anticipated game of the year. Like I said, it reminds me of a mix of The Witcher 3, mixed with Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, with combat similar but better to Assassin's Creed. It kind of reminds me of a mix between Assassin's Creed and the Dark Souls or Elden Ring series. So this game is, like I said, it's looking amazing so far. I'm really hyped for it. My most anticipated game of the year. But with that, I'm going to jump off for now. Like I said, I'll be back at 5 p.m. Eastern to start the Resident Evil series. So we'll play through Chris. That's probably taking me about 4 hours. And then we'll do Jill, which is about the same, maybe 3-4 hours roughly. So it'll be about 8-hour stream. And I'm still feeling up to it after that. I might do 2 or save 2 for tomorrow. So, like I said, come back around 5 p.m. Eastern on, X, Kick, Twitch, YouTube. I'll be there. So, guys, have a great day. I'll see you later tonight.